Hi there, this is Tony, and we're back on the bench. And this evening, we're going to be doing kind of a brief walkthrough service here on this Eagle Claw Model 402 spinning reel. So this is kind of a borderline ultralight spinning reel, I'd say. It's relatively small and lightweight, but we're just going to be going through all the take apart steps, all the cleaning steps, the lube points, and the reassembly points, and just some of the things to look out for with this reel, just for the purposes of saving time. Like I mentioned, it's already been serviced, so you're going to see things already kind of cleaned up and lubed up, but it'll help just make for kind of a quicker video, and you'll get the idea of about how to work on it. So we're going to start with taking the handle off. So if you just reverse the handle, you can take that off real easily, no problem. And then we're going to take our spool off and have a look at that. So we've got a serviceable drag stack, and it's pretty basic, and so we're going to have a look at that right now while we're here. So you got this snap ring here that you need to kind of pry out. You can do that with a small screwdriver, real simple. And then you just want to make note of the orientation of these drag washers, and there's not a lot in here. I like to take a Q-tip to the inside here and clean out any debris or grease, oil, anything that's caught up in there, sand, anything at all. So it's a pretty basic stack. That's it right there. Okay, this is a keyed washer, and it's also got kind of a slight spring bend to it. So that goes in first. And then you've got a leather washer, kind of a thick one. And then you got a metal washer, and that goes on top. That's it. So clean those pieces off real good if they got anything on them. If there's any rust or corrosion on those metal washers, you definitely want to clean those off with some 4-0 steel wool, something to that effect, because you want those to be nice and smooth, give you nice smooth operation for when you're fishing. Okay. I'd say that this reel is probably best for like some trout fishing, like in small streams and lakes and things of that sort. It's perfect for that. So you just want to make sure that that ring is seated properly, which it looks like it is. So that's it for that, basically. You just want to inspect under here, make sure that there's no gunk or dirt under there as well. Okay, so now at this point, we're just gonna take apart our side here, which in this case there's only one screw, which I've always found to be a little interesting, but it's okay. And so we're going to take that out. So you take your cap off, and so here's the innards of the reel, and it's all pretty basic in here for the most part. There's not too much going on. You got your pinion gear, you got your main shaft, you got your block, and you got the main gear there in the back. So basically the first thing to look at is there's this pin that you pull out right here out of your block, okay? And then at that holds your main shaft in place there, and aligns it with the block. All right, so at this point you can pull your shaft out completely. If this is dirty, which it probably will be, you want to clean it off with a paper towel. You can hose it down with some WD-40 or something like that. Again, take some steel wool to that and make sure it's really nice and smooth and rounded. If you see any rust or pitting, anything like that, you want to get rid of as much of that as possible, because that stuff really impedes the way that the reel works, okay? And so I'm just going to set that there for now. Okay, now at this point, your block will come out. Again, you want to clean this channel out here real good with a Q-tip, and make sure you get any of that old grease out of there. And then that goes pretty much double for here, as you want to get all this old grease out of here. Now, in order to get your rotor off, sometimes one may look at this and say, well, it doesn't come off. It looks like it's peened on there or something like that, and it's never going to come off. Well, that's not true. There's actually a key right here, kind of this retaining key, and it actually holds it in place. and you just need to kind of pry it up. You need to get like a little tiny screwdriver in there, and then you can slowly start pulling out that ring here. It's kind of a U ring, basically, all right? But that holds that in place, okay? And that's all that holds your rotor on. So as you can see, that's pretty basic, okay? There's not much to it. You want to inspect under here. You got a point of lube right here. You want to do a couple of drops of oil on this lever, as well as a couple of drops of oil in these crevices here, mainly on this side because there's a spring on this side. I don't believe there's any spring on this side for this reel. But you want that bail to be in good operation, basically. Okay, so that's just what you want to do there. And then at this point, you want to just clean up your pinion shaft, which is attached to the rotor. Okay, and then at this point, I just take some grease, some reel grease, to that pinion gear and shaft, just a little bit. All right, and in this case, I use Penn Precision Grease. I think it's probably one of the best greases out there, but just make sure that you're using oils and greases for fishing reels. Don't use automotive oils or greases or Vaseline, things of that sort. That's it's not going to help you in the long run. Okay, and at this point, the only other thing to do is to pull your main gear out, which you can do with a pair of needle nose here, and then you just want to clean this up real good and clean up the housing in here real good. And there is a washer down here that you just want to make note of and not lose. Okay, right here, a point of lube where you put a drop or two of some oil right there. Okay, there are no ball bearings or anything like that in this reel, so there's no need for that. You want to take a toothbrush, however, to all these teeth and clean these teeth off real good before you apply your fresh grease. Okay, you want to clean all this stuff off real good. Okay, and again, take some parts trays and put the pieces in the parts trays. Use some WD-40, clean them off real good. Good clean parts is key to good operation with fishing reels. Okay, so you really want those parts to be clean. So you go back to your grease and you grease up all your pieces, and don't overdo it. Just enough. Okay. I'm just kind of touching up a little bit because this has already been greased, okay? And then at this point, you can put your rotor back into position, like so. Make sure that it meshes with your main gear right there, okay? Then you can put your snap ring or retention ring or locking ring or whatever you want to call it back into position. It's not a very tight fit per se, but as long as it's in position, it shouldn't go anywhere, okay? Now at this point, you're ready to put your main shaft back in. I'm just going to put just a dab of blue grease on there, okay? But again, get this really clean, okay? And don't lose your fiber washers. There's 2 fiber washers up here, and they kind of, they kind of act as spacers almost, but you don't want to lose those parts, okay? And then we'll slide this back into position like so, okay? But first, don't forget your block. And then we're going to go into position like so. Line up your hole here. Put your pin back in there. And sometimes you might have to kind of work the shaft around a little bit, and then it's all back together inside there. So we'll put our cap back on, the plate, and you got your screw. Okay, and then you're ready to put your spool back in position like so. And spin your top cap on, and we'll just give this a feel here. Again, it's not a very tall drag stack, and so it's not going to be like, really strong, super strong drag, but it's it's a clean little reel, and and it's perfect for anyone that wants to do some small lake fishing or pond fishing or stream fishing, things of that sort. So we're just going to try it out here real quick and make sure that it's all working fine. Make sure our anti-reverse is working fine, which it is. So there you have it. That is the Eagle Claw 402 all serviced up and ready to go. So thanks again for watching. This is Tony with Back on the Bench. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.